Hey folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome back to our Planet Zoo Northern Africa themed build. Today we are yet again not bringing in an animal. I know this is crazy by my standards, it really is, but I just kind of had an idea. Well, we'll do it. We are building towards the Fennec Fox. That's going to be our next habitat. I've got a good lead in for that, and this is all part of it. We talked a lot in the last video about having a winding corridor of tall buildings and shops and overhangs and stuff like that, and that's mainly what we're going to be building today, but that is all to build up to my pièce de résistance, which is the finale little building for this area, which is, I'm really happy with it. It's really cute. And then that's going to lead on to the Fennec Fox in the next video. So basically 80% of this video is going to be building buildings, and it's lots and lots of buildings. The first thing I'm doing right here is just putting the shells on, basically, and then we're going to go through the detailing. I hadn't really planned for you to be able to see behind here, so it was a bit messy, so that all needed cleaning up. There's a lot of detail work, there's a lot of just moving stuff around and chucking stuff in, just to make it feel busy and alive, but a little shady at the same time. You know, I wanted this mix, and I wanted it to feel vibrant and kind of like a continuation of what we already did in the first bit, but a little bit more fueled by people, a little bit more alive, a little bit more vivacious. That's not the word. There's a particular word I'm looking for. A little bit more va-va-voom. It's not the word I was looking for, but whatever. So anyways, putting in a bunch of shops, putting in a bunch of buildings, and hoping for the best, basically. Yeah, I enjoyed this. This was a weird one. Like I say, I've got a Fennec Fox idea, but I had this idea in my head. Well, I found an image online, basically, and it's off this. We'll talk about it now because it's in the thumbnail. It's a shop in, I want to say Marrakesh, off the top of my head, but I don't quite remember. But it's definitely in that sort of area. And you walk into this shop, and they've got all these lights, and it's all, I think they're all African ones, but in our version, it's going to be from around the world. And they're just everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. The corridor you walk down is tiny, and the wall and the ceiling is nothing but light fixtures, and it glows and it looks magical, and I really wanted to incorporate that. I thought that was a really cool thing, and I wanted to bring that into the zoo somehow. The plan after that, as I just build buildings, as you can see, the plan after that for the Fennec Foxes is kind of like with the Indian Bazaar, where we talked a little bit about a problem facing India at the time and the animal-related problem. I want to do an exhibit a little bit based on like the exotic animal trade in Africa and many other countries. You know, at the end of the day, they're being traded out to America in particular, and all these other countries. I'm not having a pop at Africa in particular. The point is that Fennec Foxes are one of these animals that gets traded as part of the exotic animal trade, and obviously this is a bad thing. You know, they're exotic, wild animals. They shouldn't be living in your little home, even if they can get away with it, you know? It's not what they're meant for. So the idea is you're going to walk through this beautiful shop, and you're going to walk into another shop, and then there's like a little back alley side dark corridor that you go down, and that's where they're doing, like, you know, because it's illegal, so it's some like underhanded dealings selling these exotic animals as pets, and you're going to go down there, and it's just going to turn out the Fennec Foxes have all broken out, so we're going to have some rattled cages everywhere, and the Fennec Foxes are running around this sort of abandoned shop area. That's the general idea, because I think it ties in really nicely with everything we've done so far, and indeed the shop you're going to see at the end of this build. I don't know. Dunno. Sorry. I don't know what I'm going to talk about for this build. I watch other YouTubers and they're like, yeah, we'll talk for 5 minutes and then we'll just play some music and it's chill. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, usually I've got stuff to say, but this, it's so much building work, so much plaster. There's more plaster here than in a bloody hospital. Right, and by plaster, see, that's a joke. Because by plaster, I mean like plasters that you put on like a wound, you know what I mean? So plaster's got two meanings. Eh? It's funnier if you explain the joke. Oh god. So I want a little side area over here with a couple more shops, side vision in my head of this being shaded and a little bit darker as well. I really wanted it to feel, we talked a little bit about this last time, but like the street is suffocating you a little bit. Not necessarily in a horror kind of way. It's not got a horror vibe. I definitely wasn't aiming for that. The next video will. But it's more just It's very tight in terms of the walking room. The building's very tall and they look down on you, and there's a lot of shade going on and lots of different heights and lights, and it's cozy, but cozy things tend to be quite constrictive. You know, wide open spaces are rarely cozy. Cozy has a intimate notion to it. Anywho, so I've built all the shells at this point in time. So these are all like the basic building shapes that I'm going to work with. Just tried to keep different angles in there, different heights in there, just so it looked a bit more interesting, basically. And went through and sort of added some tops to all of them, just starting off with the basics. Give the buildings a little bit of life, a little bit of vavavoom, bring them a little bit more excitement. So just adding roofs onto all of them. You'll see many of the buildings don't have real backs, they don't have roofs, all this kind of jazz. You don't need to do that, you know. If you're never gonna see your zoo from the helicopter. You know, the only way you'd see all this nonsense going on, and there is a lot of nonsense, is if you were flying above the zoo. And I'm sure some people want all their buildings to be perfect from every angle. I totally get that. But this build would have taken probably like 3 hours longer if I'd tried to do the backs of the buildings and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, you never see it, so what's the bloody point, as far as I'm concerned? So yeah, just focused on what you would see as a guest walking through the zoo. So I did all the roofs, and now it's time for the windows. Again, just tried to do it bit by bit, so it was shells, roof, windows, you know, just take an aspect and apply it to all the buildings at once. And that way it was, because I wanted it to feel like a cohesive whole, and if you treat all the buildings the same way, roughly, we're going to mix it up with colours and details and stuff like that, and doors and plants and blah 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 blah, and tiles. But if you do all of these things at once, it's a little bit less annoying, because if you do one building at a time, you have to go window and then roof, and then you have to go through all these items, and you have to do it again for the next building. So here I put all the glass windows in, then I'm adding all the outside of the windows, the window frames. There is going to be a jump, I think it's relatively soon. Again, I've mentioned this before, but for some reason, of which I'm still very unsure, I keep stopping recording Planet Zoo. Like, my recording program just stops. It doesn't happen with any other game. It's nothing to even do with length. You know, I record for hours at a time on my other channel, and it doesn't happen. So why does it keep happening with Planet Zoo? There must be a button somewhere that I'm pushing, very rarely, but every now and then, like once every few hours, and it's turning off my my recording program. I have no idea what it is. So I am going to lose, I think I ended up like 40-50 minutes worth of footage. I don't notice. You know, I've got this little recording thing in the top right hand of my screen, and it's red when it's recording, sure, but I don't look up there. I just, you know, I'm looking at the screen. I'm trying to build things. So again, same idea here, we're taking all the tile, doing all the tile details at once. We'll go back through and do all the colouring in a minute, and it's not going to be green and yellow. We have established a colour story, as you would say if you were a wedding designer. We have established a colour story already for the zoo so far, which is the sort of creamy colour, the coffee colour, like a darker, slightly sickly yellow, it's lovely, a deep red, and quite a light sky blue. And generally speaking, for this entire area, I'm going to stick to those colours. We bring in a couple others every now and again. Grabbing some of my old buildings, chucking those up on the roof, just a easy way to get extra details, basically. There's no reason not to reuse things if you're looking at it from a different angle, or it's a little bit, you know, out of sight. Lots of pots, we have lots of sort of dead plaster air here, lots of empty spaces which could be filled with things, which means a lot of pots. And at this point, it was just, I haven't done the colours yet, but other than that, it's just decoration. It's just trying to make this area look interesting and a little bit more vibrant. The buildings were all a little bit dull at this point in time, bringing in some lights as well. I've mentioned it several times, but I love these lampposts. They are my favourite thing. They are just beautiful. So well made. It's still my favourite pack in the game, this, honestly. Like, it's just got such a great variety of stuff. The tiles in particular are my favourite thing, I think. The tiles and the lights are both top tier. And the windows are really cool as well. Unlike wheel windows. And the doors are pretty cool. And little door handles. I would like some signs. We don't have any signs. You know, like custom signs that you can write on. We have none of those for this pack, which is a bit of a shame. But beyond that, it's pretty cool. So yeah, detail time. Bringing in some pillars, bringing in some plant life in our pots. This is the only plant I could find that really works. The elephant eel plant is by far the best at it. You know, it really makes all the others look pretty useless. Doing some colours here. Again, I wanted to try to stick to the colour scheme roughly, but also mix it up a little bit between the different windows. You know, the different buildings, they should have different colour schemes on their windows, surely. So, trying to keep a good mix of variety there. Again, just make it interesting to look at. I don't like this blue and yellow. It's a little bit, oof, a little bit in your face. So I'm not really big on. Yeah, there you go. Windows. And doing the same for the shops, again using the same colours, not necessarily in the same exact system, not exactly in the same combinations. You know, they will look different, but they'll all use the same basil colours. And it just gives it a nice togetherness. And I've left some green in there every now and again for like a pop of colour and a pop of, I'm going to stop saying va-va-voom. But generally speaking, we're trying to homogenize it a little bit. It makes sense that you would have a colour scheme of some description, right? There would be dyes that are particularly accessible, local resources that are really good for dyeing things certain colours. Culturally, certain cultures will lean towards certain colours. There's plenty of reasons why. That's my excuse anyway. If it had loads of different colours, it would just look stupid. And yeah, just chucking in some stuff, making these little side alleys. There's never going to be anything particularly exciting down there. It's just so it's not just a flat corridor. I wanted it to look like there were streets going off to the side in different areas. In retrospect, I would have done one more path off to the side and blocked it off with something, but kind of make it look like there's the whole new area down there. But then we would have to build like 5 more buildings, and I've built enough buildings. I've built enough buildings for a bloody lifetime. I know I say this a lot and people get annoyed, but it isn't what I typically focus on. I've started to enjoy it a lot more, it must be said. I couldn't imagine myself doing this like 6 months ago in this game. It just wasn't something that would cross my mind. But I've started to lean into it. I think my problem with the buildings generally is I don't have a particularly architectural mind. Like, I know what looks good, and I'm pretty good at making things look good, right? Generally speaking on Planet Zoo, I feel. But my buildings are never like architecturally super logical or sound or like beautifully designed original architectural buildings. My best work usually comes when I'm copying something. Which I will say for this, so far, nothing has been copied. This is all off the top of my head. But I'd like to dabble with more buildings. We'll probably end up taking inspiration from real world ones. But I approach this game less as an architect and more as a photographer, which I think is different than how most people do it. For fairly obvious reasons, but I'm more about like sightlines and blocking and all that kind of jazz, I guess. I feel like I've said these words far too many times. Anywho, just trying to make this wall a little bit more interesting. This is like the final corridor before the shop that we'll be building towards the end. I just wanted to get basically everything else done before then. Just make sure every little nook and cranny has some little details, some little lights, different plant life, different pots. A bicycle at some point. I don't know if I've already done that, but it's a bicycle. just things to make it feel like an actual town rather than a fake exhibit for a zoo. You know what I mean? Like it's lived in. The peoples are here's and they're doing things. And really it's just a case of going back through the town. There, that's where it cut off. So I lost quite a lot of stuff there. Really it's just a case of going, like, walking through the town as though you're a guest. And looking around and just seeing which bits are a little bit dull and which bits need a little bit of va-va-voom. So, we're working on the shop here. So, as I say, this shop is going to be super heavy on the lights. That is the whole idea. You're going to walk in and there's going to be loads of merchandise from around the world and then loads of lights on top of that merchandise. The idea is this guy's a trader, the guy running the shop. He'll be in the next video. And he travels the world. He's like Batuta. That's kind of the idea, right? Batuta was this famed travel writer who travelled the world and saw all these amazing things. This is the same kind of idea, but he's a merchant. He's travelling the world, collecting things from Asia and Europe and America and other parts of Africa, and bringing them all back to this shop here in Egypt, which is where our zoo is set, and trading. You know? It's kind of like an old school kind of thing. It's less a thing now than it used to be, obviously, but, you know, back in the day, this is what people did. Travel and get spices and stuff like that. It's a little bit small, I decided, so I decided to elongate the entire thing. Annoyingly, after I'd already built the bloody thing, so I had to go through and extend it, but I just wanted the roof to I wanted it to feel a little bit special, so the roof is You know, it's got a new kind of staggered design to it, and it actually has a roof, whereas the rest of this place doesn't have a roof. I brought the plaster really tight in, so your actual walking space is really thin in the middle, as you can see. The idea being simply that there's just so much merchandise stacked all over the place that he needs all the space possible, so it's like single file walk through this shop. Just like skinnying, that's not the word. Squeezing yourself. Why did I forget the word squeezing? I swear my vocabulary is phenomenal, right? But I don't remember any of the words I know. It's really annoying. Not to big myself up, but it is one of my things, vocabulary. But I get to a video and it just falls to absolute pieces. Anyways, you're going to kind of squeeze your way through single file through these humongous piles of merchandise. And that's what we're doing here. And you can see there's Asia stuff. I just chucked in everything, to be honest with you. Absolutely everything I could find that I thought, oh yeah, I could see that in a shop, it went in. If it could go in a shop, it went in the shop, basically. That was the whole idea. And I will say, so when I started this zoo originally, the idea was it was going to be like a daytime zoo. It was going to look really good at daytime. This exhibit, this shop does not satisfy that requirement. This is a nighttime shop. It looks a little bit weird in the daytime, and at night with the lights on it's incredible and bright and shiny. In the daytime it just looks like an absolute goddamn mess. So anyways, just wanted things to feel full, and then I accidentally grabbed this thing, this wooden trestle kind of thing that kind of sits inside the building, and I really liked it because I thought I need a way to hang lights off the roof, and the lower the roof is, the better that'll look, because the lights will be closer to the guests. Also, these bloody Australian things don't look like they would glow, but they do. So I have this trestle kind of running through the middle, these beams running through the middle of the whole thing. These are lights, and they allow me to put lights a little bit lower into the room, but still looking like part of the actual roof. Going to cover the roof in lights, basically. Starting off with some lovely these things. Like I said, the image I was taking inspiration off did use what looked to be African style lights, but I just, again, we've established this store is, you know, it's all around the world. It's what they're using. It's stuff from around the globe, so why not have the lights from around the globe? And already I looked at that and I thought, you know what? That's pretty cool. I could be happy with that if that was the idea. It looks really nice. It's pleasant and cozy and warm, yet still chock-a-block of stuff. But, no, not going to happen. We need many, many, many more lights than this, ladies and gentlemen. But the thing is, adding lights at a certain point, and they're all using like a warm glow, like a warm orange, because I wanted to emphasize that coziness. There's a couple of lights in the game, the Asia lamppost, for example, where you can't change the light color for some reason. I don't really know why that's a thing, but you can't. So I had to get rid of those, but generally speaking, just loading the room with lots and lots of different lights. Look at it. I'm so happy with this. Genuinely so happy. It looks exactly like what I had in mind. Make sure there's lots of lights hanging over the roof and from the side of the walls, kind of poking into you a little bit. Just chock-a-block is the idea. And it didn't matter what the lights looked like, any type of light would do. Yeah, it reminds me of like a thrift store kind of thing. I decided I wanted to mix up the colours a little bit, so I made some of them into more like a red, burnt orange colour, just to... It's still got that cozy, warm kind of vibe, but it mixes it up just a little bit and makes it a little bit, yes, yellow-orange. I just wanted a little bit of variety in there. Little signs here for Fennec Fox F, because it's going to be called probably Fennec something. That's what the title of my videos is, by the way. PC time-lapse, add VO. I don't know what the Fennec exhibit is going to be called. I have changed the Rhino one to Rhino Riviera. I really liked that because it's got that kind of posh sort of theme that I really liked. For the fox, though, I don't really have an idea, but we can talk about it in the next video. Right, we will hop in game. Should be a very short tour, this one. We're just going to go through it at night time and check it out, and then maybe briefly show it at daytime, and yeah, I'll see you in a sec. So, like I say, we're going to do this one at night time because I think it just fits a little bit better. So, the idea is you go over here, you see the rhinos, or don't really see the rhinos, as the case may be. Oh, I should mention very quickly, I did a little bit of a pass on this habitat since the last time you guys saw it. It was annoying me a little bit how unnatural it looked and how uninteresting it looked, and there was like a variation in height and rocks and all that kind of jazz. So I went through and sort of redid quite a lot of the foliage to make it a little bit more interesting. I think it's yeah, I think it's a big improvement over what we had. Right, back to nighttime. Okay, so I'm going to leave it paused because there's so many humans. Although it does ruin the music and stuff. Fine. Oh, okay. So you're walking. Get a little glimpse of what's to come. Lights on the wall, little corridor down there, nothing special. I kind of want to do more stuff down there. God, they're everywhere. And, yeah, here we go. It's got like a Arabian Nights kind of vibe to it, I guess. It feels like it took so long, and it's actually in reality such a small area. Like, it took so much work, and it's like you'd walk through it in about 4 seconds. I'll do daytime for this bit. And I'm going to pause it because the people annoy me. Yeah, no, I'm really happy with it. It looks like I wanted. It's tall buildings, small corridors, nice colours, but all kind of themed together. Little buildings here and there just to break things up. Little bits of trellis and little details up on the roof. And yeah, I know, pretty happy with it. Especially at night time. Yeah, I do prefer it at night, it must be said. Man, this looked so good in my head, and I'm looking through it, and I'm like, it's fine. It's a bit short, though, isn't it? I'm like, well, yeah, but this is how long it bloody takes. This probably needs something. That's how long it bloody takes to do something like this, you know? Oh my god, that's terrifying. Absolute nightmare fuel right there. Okay, and then you see that, and it glows, and I was kind of trying to keep it original, and only have it on the left, but I love the array of colours we're getting on that tiled wall on there on the left. Look at that. So I kind of might want to have that on that side as well, make the whole thing feel like a gem, like a crystal that you're about to walk inside. Maybe block this off, and then have that on that. I'm going to have to, because I love that tile. What the hell, Planet Zoo? That lighting is amazing. Anyways, here we go. The shop. So it is overwhelmingly bright, especially when you first walk in, but it's warm and it's chock-a-block of stuff and it's all super well lit and everything is everywhere and you can barely move because there's just stuff all over the bloody place. And yeah, this is basically what I had in mind. There's a reason this corridor in particular I've kept dark as well, just because I wanted the shop to be, again, like a gem, to like really shine and really stand out amongst all of this here. I love that tile though. Look at the texture, it's beautiful. Anyways, yeah, I think that's about it, folks. I'll show you it in daytime. Like I said, it doesn't really retain the it just looks like a mess. Because all the colours pop individually. There's no like homogeneous colours sort of drowning them out a little bit, whereas at nighttime all of them get dimmed down because the orange kind of takes over, so it looks less messy and more just cozy, I guess. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. This whole place, really. Oddly enough, I think I prefer it going this way than the other way. Let's try to point out some of the details as we go. Keep meaning to put something there as well, but I'm still not sure what. It's okay to have a blank wall. It isn't actually a big deal. I need to get over that. Yeah, that's about it then, folks. Tell you what, whilst you're here, whilst you're blimmin' here, let's stick some of this on here. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Oh, what's it, Daisy? I'm just going to fill in this gap, basically. Yeah, and maybe this side as well. Okay, yeah, cool. Just so it catches the light a little bit. Oh, I love that so much. I might put like a line of it along here as well. Like a little bit of tiles up there at the top. Love me some... I'm obsessed with these tiles. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. They are so good. You're going to fit in that? You'll fit in there, right? Yeah, sort of. Actually, we could put that... that one? Why don't we put it there? I'm trying to see what I can get away with. As lazy as possible. Not much, unfortunately. I'd have to kind of do this, yeah. Okay, I'll do that on my own time. Anyways, that is about it. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. So that is our little township so far. Very unlike anything I've ever built, as I say. but really happy with it. I'm a little apprehensive because eventually we're moving away from the town into more typical me stuff, you know, haunted pyramids and all this kind of jazz, but the town restricts you in a way. It builds you into this little corner that, I don't know, just comes alive. Anyway, so we're gonna go shop here, shop there. Fennec Fox is in here. No, in there, because that's the edge there. And after that, who knows? But we'll talk about that in the next video. That is it from me and from my very shiny shop. Thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this video, please do throw me a like down below. Let me know what you think of the build in the comment section. And I'll see you next video for the Fennec Fox escapee shop kind of thing. The idea is to say very quickly. So this guy's running this shop, so you're going to walk through here. There's going to be another lit shop area here, but it's going to be more dimly lit in like a blue light, just to contrast it with the orange. And there's going to be a counter there where the shopkeep would work from. So you're going to walk forward into his shop, which again will have merchandise on the walls, but a little bit less busy than this bit. And then you're going to turn, well, I guess this way. Then there'll be like a curtain area here. You're going to walk in there. It's going to be dark and much more dimly lit. Still inside. And the Fennec Foxes will be roaming about and escaping and doing their thing. It's going to be cool, I think. I think it's a nice idea. I feel like I'm building like a theme park ride. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of into that sexually. So thank you for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye.